Welcome to Through a Glass Darkly Radio. You're watching us on United Public Radio, and the intro song was Mark of the Doomslayer by White Bat Audio, or by Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. It's been a wild day. I had a recorded 2 or 3 episodes, depending if I decide to break up the 2-hour-long video that I recorded with somebody you might all know. So I talked to Jeffrey Mishlove a la Kurt Metzger. So that was today. It was a wild 2 hours. I am sure you will all enjoy that. And it happened pretty fast. It was like I asked on Friday, and he's like, yeah, you want this the weekend? Saturday, Sunday? So, yeah. So that was fun. I will put that up. I mean, it's going to take a while to edit because there's all sorts of pictures and, crap like that. You see it. should put this closer as long as it doesn't interfere with the lights. Oh, no, it's interfering with the lights. There we go. All right. Hopefully that's louder. And then, of course, I have a bunch of noises in the background. Hopefully you can't hear it, but maybe you do. All right. Let's see. What do we got? W-Ban and more. New haircut kind of looks like Tom. It's not a new haircut. It's just the way that my hair is today. It's just it's deciding on how to behave. I do need a haircut. I need to bust a mug soon. Been using plenty of ice in my drinks lately. Oh boy. Lovely. Jeffrey. His impression of Jeffrey Mishlove is just, I just wish more people knew who Jeffrey Mishlove was, because it's like an inside joke now, but it is, I mean, it's uncanny. He just transforms. Anyway, I'm going to have to like bleep some words out, because he started out using the word PDF files, but the actual word, like early on, I'm like, well, you gotta say PDF files. So there's going to be some bleeping in the beginning so I don't get thrown off YouTube. No, Mitch, I haven't. I've been so busy. Like, I just finished editing my 6 Bigfoot videos. But I have like this little promo that I should just turn it into a video just so I could show it on the live stream at some point. But yeah, so February is Sasquatch season. Just so you know, if for regular people of the channel that don't give a crap about Sasquatch, I'm sorry. There's maybe going to be 2 episodes in January that are not related to Sasquatch, and then there's like 6 back to back to back, and it's like increasing insanity as you go through it. But if you know anything about jinn, UFOs, the Fae, angels and demons, it's ghosts, it's all the same shit. It's all the same. There's knocking phenomena, there's portals, there's apports, there's mind speak, they call it, but it's just telepathy, psychokinesis, all sorts of great, like, it seems like it's all the same stuff. Like, as I was just going through it with folks, it's just like, oh, this all sounds familiar. It's like Steve Mera, Barry Fitzgerald, Nathaniel Gillis stuff. But yeah, I haven't reached out to him yet. And then I just, like, I have one more video to record and I will be done February. And then, you know, I already have at least one video that I have to edit for March, or the beginning of March. So I'm like way ahead. Because I had to, because I'm gonna, like, next week is gonna be a wash. I'm not gonna have time to do any work. So, did who die? I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, Scott. You're gonna love this crap. It's like, anyway. All right, I'm gonna get started, because every time I ask AI to put together a 20 single space page script, it gives me a 30-page script. So if I get started early enough, I won't have to read like an auctioneer. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Just a reminder, I have a novel that comes out at the end of the month. You can pre-order it on Amazon Kindle now, and then you can get the actual novel. It is the most offensive title you can possibly imagine. It is Yahtzee Cocktail. I'm not going to say the N word, because who knows what will happen. But Yahtzee Cocktail, and it's not pro-Aryan stuff like that. It's just this is a very provocative title. So anyway, hope you enjoy that. Jeffrey died. What? Who said Jeffrey died? Challenge Tim Pool to a read-off. He'll probably destroy me. He's younger and fitter, and more verbal. I'm not very verbal. I have like an engineering brain. Wait, come on. Jeffrey Mishlove, he's still around. Come on. That would be really bad if he's not. Let's see. Somebody just tell me so I can get started. Uh yeah, I think he's still around. Yeah, he's still around. That's gotta be. It's gotta be the case. All right, what am I doing? All right. Uh, all right, Woo Riders DG. Hello, Sean. Hope you and your family are doing great. God bless you all. Thank you, Woo Riders DG. Good to see you. Whoa, I just yeah, he's around. I don't know if somebody's saying he's not dead, guys. He's not dead. He can't be dead because if he does, it will ruin my next like one of my episodes in March because Kurt Metzger just roasts him. Just. Oh my god. Hey, Timepiece Adventures. Happy 2026. Okay, so Woo Riders DD, Sean, your thoughts on what Trump's end game plan is for Greenland, Venezuela, Iran, etc. All the stuff going on right now. Uh, okay, this is kind of weird, but one of my fraternity brothers in college, my year, his name's Ken Howry, Howey. He is currently, and I haven't talked to him in like 10 years for no reason. It's just he became a billionaire and I did not. So I feel awkward about reaching out to him because I don't want him to think that I want something. So I haven't. But he is currently the ambassador to Denmark. As you all know, Denmark owns Greenland. So I just went on Facebook to see if he's still a Facebook friend. And he is. So all his pictures, and these were posted in like December, are of him like shaking the king of Denmark or some like Danish functionary, right? Just like schmoozing and all that stuff. They're all smiling and then there's pictures of him. It's like, hey, here's Greenland. What a beautiful country. And he's like pointing to it and stuff like that. There's going to be a negotiation, is my just based on the Facebook posts alone. All this threatening bellicose stuff, it's all bullshit. It's all just bluster and nonsense. So my guess is that Trump will offer to buy Greenland and the Danes will sell it. And the reason all this is happening is there's a consolidation of the US can't afford to be a global hegemon anymore. No one can. The Russians can't, the Chinese can't. So we're going to have two spheres of influence, the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere. And we're going to let all the crazies run the Eastern Hemisphere and we're going to run the Western Hemisphere. Europe will be destroyed. It's already well on the pathway to being destroyed. It's pretty obvious. Sturmer canceled in the UK canceled a bunch of elections. He didn't cancel all the elections. That's all fake news, obviously. But all those elections have been canceled, and then there have been reservists, retirees up to the age of 65 in the UK have been recalled to duty. Okay, so that they can train, I guess, the British military to fight the Russians. So I don't think the US is going to opt into that. I think the Europeans are going to hoist themselves on their own petards, and the Russians are just going to mop the floor with them. So Europe's going to be destroyed. It's pretty obvious to me. The US is going to have its own sphere of influence. It started with Venezuela. We now control the largest oil reserves in the world. It's not going back to the Venezuelan people. I'm not saying that to be arrogant or like an arrogant American or whatever. It's just a fact, right? It's in American interest to control that strategic resource and block the Chinese and also slow down the de-dollarization process. Full stop. I also have reason to believe, based on my work at another organization that you all know about, but I'm not going to say it out loud, that in the next decade, Canada will be annexed to the United States in an agreement, formal agreement, probably with the Crown as part of the British Commonwealth, or there'll be some sort of accommodation, and Canada will become a number of new U.S. states, or it'll become a U.S. territory or something like that. Because right now it's just a mess. I mean, the whole country's a mess. You had a trucker strike, and they started freezing people's bank accounts, which is basically a tantamount to starving people. Like, I mean, it's just a mess. Their fiscal system's a mess. It's a mess. I don't think there'll be any military anything. I just think the British Crown will come to an accommodation with the United States as part of this regional reordering of the world. Again, we're in the fourth turning, and this is kind of how this stuff happens. You're not seeing it on the news. You're not, but I mean, we called Venezuela, right? When I was at the Future Forecasting Group, we called Venezuela. So that's kind of, I've all but told you what the remote viewer saw. That doesn't mean it's right, but they definitely saw Trump. They definitely saw Trump, like images of him like taking all the toys and stuff like that, and they had no idea what the target was. They just got 8 characters. One guy was so specific; he saw basalt pillars, right? And I'm like, what? And like covering an underground complex. So, given that Canada has like the third largest Ukrainian resources in the world, I just kind of looked it up, and it turns out that the Athabasca Basin, where Canada has uranium, is embedded in basalt pillars, basically. So they also, two viewers saw pipelines. Canada has that kind of big pipeline to the north, all that stuff. It was pretty on the nose. Like blue team, the team I run, was pretty on point on that one. I mean, it was pretty scary how accurately they got Canada. And then they saw like symbolic imagery of the crown on a holiday. It just had like a crown and a palm tree, which is seemed to me to be symbolic that the crown goes on a holiday in the UK. So, or vis-a-vis Canada, and it seemed to be an orderly transfer, or like change. They were saying things of like changing of the guard. So maybe they're wrong, but I don't think so. I think Canada is going to become part of like a North American Union or something akin to that. Anyway, that's good question, and that's the context. So challenged Bull to be genuine. I don't know. He seems like a good guy to me. God bless Woo Riders DG. I agree. Yeah, Kerp. I have Kerp on video. 2 hours worth of Kerp. I just have to make sure that it's not too spicy for you too, because he's spicy. All right, 2026 is going to be crazy according to Bob Ivanga. Yep. Some people say there's a mile-long UFO in Greenland. I know that they have a mile-high glacier over most of the island, but can you talk about any of the new remote viewing projects you have worked out about the future? I just told you the latest. There's another one that just came in, but I haven't analyzed it yet. And the latest, I don't know if it appeared yet, but it will hopefully appear soon if it hasn't. All right, so midterms are around the corner. Maybe things will turn around. We'll see. Spiritual Ascension says perhaps you should do a show on politics instead of all these other topics. This podcast started out being about geopolitics. In fact, it was supposed to cover 4 things: geopolitics, the paranormal, writing, and like finance. And writing, it just actually finance performed the worst. I did like one of those videos and then just stopped. Writing performed the second worst. Occasionally I'll interview an author, but I basically stopped because those videos don't perform either. Geopolitics formed the third worst. But will still generally do them, particularly where the paranormal meets geopolitics. But again, they weren't as successful. And like I was doing things like, if you go back and look at my early videos before Putin invaded Ukraine, I said it was 100% he was going to do it, when the rest of the media was like, "Oh no, he's not going to do it." And then I said exactly what he was going to do, and then he did exactly what I said he was going to do. But the algorithm just basically ignored those. So this this channel is technically where, military science fiction and fact, or sorry, where military science fact meets military science fiction, basically. So anyway, oh, this stupid camera always does this shit. All right. All right. Okay, so Solar EOS Experiment worked on stupid autocorrect remote viewing projects about the future. Okay, so bungee jumper. I think Trump is doing stupid things. This whole Greenland thing is crazy. Yes, it's meant to look like. So step all the way back. This isn't about Trump. This is just Trump is just doing it, is being Trump. He's just doing his Trumpian thing. But behind the scenes at like the World Economic Forum, all this stuff is all planned, right? We're moving into a hemispheric block world where the US is the big dog in the Western Hemisphere, and then Russia and China are divvying up the Eastern Hemisphere. And that's just the way it's going to be. You have tighter supply lines. So what you're going to see is kind of like the Monroe Doctrine on steroids, where the U.S. just controls everything that happens in the hemisphere. If China's mucking about in Peru, we'll just fuck them up. But the same's going to go for the U.S. The Chinese will probably in the next several years take Taiwan, and it's like all stage managed. But at that time, hopefully, the semiconductor issue is managed, etc. And like I said, Europe's going to be either made irrelevant or destroyed, because the stuff that they're doing right now is absolutely suicidal, right? Like Stormer canceling even a few elections, right? Scotland's aren't canceled and Wales aren't canceled, right? So I'm trying not to portray all the fake news, but he's wildly unpopular. Like doing it right now and then calling back troops is national suicide, because none of those guys, I mean, I don't know how any person living in the UK can support the government, what the government's doing right now. I mean, they have more people in prison for social media violations than any country on earth, including Russia and China. So, like, I mean, like, it's out of control. So the kind of the moves they're taking right now would like, if Trump started a war with Russia and called back veterans up to the age of 65, you would have a civil war, because veterans would tell him to go fuck himself. That's except at least, Trump for the most part allows free speech. Stormer is like putting people in prison. Meanwhile, the Muslim rape gangs do their damage and are left completely unharmed. So, like, would you fight for that regime? No. Not at all. So anyway, that's kind of, but yes, it does look extremely stupid. Now, if he bombs Iran, that's really, it was exceptionally stupid when he bombed Iran the first time. I know why he did it, because if he hadn't done it, if the Iranians had 2 more weeks, they would have destroyed Tel Aviv, because the Israelis were running out of interceptors. That's why he did it. He didn't do it to destroy Iran's nuclear program. He did it to just stop the two. He basically saved Israel. He saved Israel from having Tel Aviv destroyed. Let's see. Riders, he said, once Europe is destroyed, they will come for the West, but the big golden dome will be impenetrable. Well, yeah, that's part of the allure of Greenland right now. So Scott Ian says Greenland has star bases and inner Earth entrances. I hear. Who knows? A new iteration of the North American Union. Yeah, probably Tim Beck. Yeah, it's going to be something like that. Highly spiritual land. Deep state runs genocide. Yep, the trafficking thing, war and government, pack money is the problem. Yeah, 100%. So, Scott, you've been following my research I see on Greenland and Inner Earth. Who writers do you see? Okay, I don't doubt it. Yeah, this is wild to hear you say Canada could be. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it. I'm just saying, just look at all the moves. Like, there's a clear consolidation going on in the Western Hemisphere, right? The first, you secure oil resources in the Western Hemisphere. That's Venezuela. And then the next step is you secure other commodities like uranium, which is in Canada, right? I think the other uranium is, in the Eastern Hemisphere. And, you know, I mean, I don't think there'll be a war. I just think that's just kind of the way it's going to happen. Okay, that I must claim I coined greenness. Okay. Okay, so we are going to need bunkers. 2026 is World War III, according to Baba Yavanga. Kind of, yeah. Well, that's the other issue. Wu Riders need Canada and China just made a big deal. Yeah, that just if Canada, for instance, were to allow Chinese troops establish a base there, we would absolutely invade. Like it would be like kick them out or we are coming north. And I don't think Biden would have done the same thing. Right. So, like, again, this is all Monroe Doctrine stuff. We have the precedent. Get out of our hemisphere or we will kick you out. Okay. Okay, so Tim Beck, Canada will balkanize Alberta, Saskatchewan, maybe Manitoba to the States. Yeah, but then once the other territories are, is British Columbia going to stand alone? Because there's a huge not Taiwan, Hong Kong expat population in British Columbia, so which is de facto a possible area of or potential area of Chinese influence, which not going to let it happen. So Solite US expat Canada will be part of the US in 10 years. What about remote viewing projects regarding border changes in Asia? Any news on that besides Taiwan being part of China and Greenland will be ours when? I think this year. Again, like I go to Facebook. I went to school with the current ambassador to Denmark, and he's posting friendly pictures with him shaking hands with key Danish functionaries. Like they're going to make a deal. It's obvious. There's no like he's calm, he's happy, right? Everybody's smiling. The stuff you're hearing in the news is the absolute opposite to what I'm seeing on his Facebook page. And this was in December. So it's going to happen. Okay, let's see. I think there's a lot of delusion and manipulation happening. Absolutely, Sally Fourth Lawn. That's why I have to look at Facebook pages of personal acquaintances to figure out what the hell's going on in the world. Right? Like they're not banishing him and like sending him away back to the United States. He's actively engaging and glad handing in Denmark. And has been doing that for a while. The Peter Sahan of the paranormal. So like US expert, who is Kerp? That guy Michael said there are anomalies in Greenland, like in Antarctica, as I recall when I was a subscriber. Oh, Michael said that, huh? I didn't know that. So Kerp is Metzger. He's the guy. He's a comedian. He was on Rogan many times. Uh, yeah, I mean, it helps. It helps that I have like the advantage of being tied to a group of remote viewers. It doesn't mean they're always right, but they'll see stuff and I'm able to interpret it based on what's going on geopolitically. The videos of ICE beating down people just when it's that's because like I can't tell you how many times I've lost hours of my life in BART because of some fucking protest shutting things down. So it's cathartic for people like me to see these protesters getting beaten down, right? Because it's pent up. You can't do anything about it. So when finally ICE is beating these people down, it's like, good motherfucker. All those hours you stole from my fucking family and my life, fuck you, right? That's great. That's why people like watching it. So anyway, is China going to take South Korea and Japan? No, brother. Once first of all, you have to get through the minefields in South Korea, which are legion. And then the Air Force would most certainly intervene. And then the Japanese are doubling their defense budget. That's a percentage of GDP. Like the last thing the Chinese want to do is get into a war with Japan because they have serious generational PTSD from the last time the samurai fucking hopped into Nanking and were running newspaper articles about which Japanese sergeant could behead the most Chinese civilians, right? Like they don't want that. They don't want to deal with that again. Yeah. So Europe's zeitgeist is dismally abhorrent. Doom. Yeah, 100%. Okay. So Grand Emperor saying we need an episode on semiconductors and UAV tech because there's no way that was invented without outside help. Yeah, look, I have a degree in electrical engineering, and there is no way somebody's like, oh, if I just put these P and N holes into silicon and charge them using this, protons and neutrons, and like it's completely counterintuitive. Like it's super unintuitive. I mean, in terms of the way that the device actually works, but the like physical chemistry of the way that it all works is like I don't know how somebody would have come up with that independently without some help. So when did you do this project regarding Canada for future forecasters? I don't know if it's on YouTube yet, but I did it. We recorded it on Wednesday. So I don't know if they've popped it up yet or not. I have slides for all this stuff. They don't show slides to the public. But they just because it's in the video. So I don't know. All right, so Woo Riders, China cannot take South Korea, and Japan, Taiwan would help fight. Besides, yeah, they would. Taiwan is more. Yep, it's true. Yeah, that's fair, but I think we have those special processing refineries. So Timepiece Adventures writes, it appears as if the current strategy is to secure the Americas. Yeah, 100%. China and Russia have their own hemispheric interests. I'm curious about Africa. Yeah, Africa will continue to be a place of intrigue for the great powers just because of its vast resources. Vancouver. Yeah. Yeah, somebody else we actually talked about that when we talked about the Canada thing. It's also called Van Kong apparently. Yes. The guy on the Jimmy Dore show. Yes. Kerp or Kurt Metzger. 100%. All right, so courts in Canada ruled a few days ago the Emergency Measures Act use had no grounds. Now that will change what you said. Oh, not that that will change what you said. Yeah, fair. Fair. Yes. Yes, I did. It happened really fast. Shout out to Nathaniel Gillis for making it happen. because they're texting. They're texting. They text back and forth and all that stuff. So, um, he's a really good dude. I wish he were more famous, but he will be. Like it's his time, and he's genuinely like hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious. So, oops. All right. Ooh, I don't know if you remember me mentioning that I'm paranoid about someone remote viewing me, but he finally admitted he's done it to someone else before. Ugh. Yeah, I think there are kind of defenses for it, but it's I don't know how to do it. But I do know someone who does, but I haven't been able to interview or talk to him yet. So Glenn Wheaton knows how to do this. Let's see. So Uri Geller, famous remote viewer, how to post and ask. Not too long ago, telling Trump said he could have his island as has something special in it, as something as Greenland sounded UFO related. Interesting. All right, so Tim Beck, California selected corporate tech C40 cities. Mark Andreessen, tech billionaire hedge fund, fourth industrial revolution. BC will be a part of that. West Coast dominance, possibly. Yeah, we'll see. Mark Carney literally used the words "New World Order" after he signed the the guy's trying. The guy is asking for it by doing shit like that. Unknown caller. This fucking guy always calls me right in the middle of my fucking live streams every fucking time. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, Mark Carney. What a joke. All right, so Woo Riders. So Steve Mira is on fire with his research lately, and his protege Nathaniel is right there alongside him. I can see them on Rogan before year's end. That's how popular research is right now. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't know why I know it's going to happen. I don't have any special knowledge, but it's going to happen. I don't know how soon, but it's going to happen. I think Rogan, from an outside observer, not from any inside knowledge, seems to take his time, kind of, look at the stuff, cogitate on it, etc. But it's going to happen. All right, really not sure what makes Americans think they can beat China. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right now. China hasn't fought a war since 1972, and it was like a 2-week, 3-week war, and the Vietnamese handed them their ass. So they have no practical military experience. They haven't fought a war in several generations, whereas the United States has very fresh experience and knowledge. So it will be rough going for the Chinese. Now the Russians have had 3 years to perfect drone warfare. 3 years ago, the United States would have gone through them like shit through a goose. Now would be an entirely different animal. And the Europeans need to respect the Russians, because if they don't, they're going to get slaughtered. Because the Europeans, while they have more combat experience than the Chinese from serving and helping, the United States in the war on terror, they haven't. Then, just like the United States, they don't have any recent experience in high intensity operations. The U.S. trains for that, but we have not fought in a high intensity conflict since the Korean War. So the Russians are actively fighting one right now. Anyway, the Russians always shit the bed when they first start. In every war they start, when Napoleon invaded, they got their asses kicked. When Hitler invaded, they got their asses kicked. When the Ukrainians fought back, they got their asses kicked, but they always learn. Every single time. Combined with the winner, they always learn and then reverse the tide. So they are not to be misjudged, whatever you want to call it. There needs to be a healthy respect for your adversary. I'm not sure what makes them think China wouldn't win. It would be the most sophisticated amphibious operation in history. It would against an untested power, like an ally, not an ally, but a country with no recent military experience that has never conducted an amphibious operation in its history. It would be like D-Day, only at least in D-Day, the United States had some experiences in North Africa, and the Germans bloodied them pretty badly, right? Kasserine Pass was a disaster. So to think that the Chinese are just going to steamroll over Taiwan, and then the other thing too is it would be a Pyrrhic victory even if they did do it, because even if they took the island, the United States and or the Taiwanese would destroy all the semiconductor foundries. So the entire world would be short of semiconductors for 5-10 years. And the United States can't keep up or won't be able to replicate that because while they passed the Chips Act, which was a smart thing that the Biden administration did, they inserted all this woke garbage. So it required, like, not only that, it required like all these woke mandates for people to fill positions where those people don't exist. Like there just aren't enough engineers of insert certain color or gender or whatever. They just don't exist. So they're having tons of issues building that foundry. Again, just another reason like this woke insanity has completely crippled us as a country. All right, let's see. I lost 7 subscribers today when I first woke up. So whatever's happening, like the algorithm has not been favorable, and I don't know why. So actually, everybody, please check to make sure you're still subscribed, because you've probably been unsubscribed in the last 24 hours. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I'm going to try to process it as soon as possible. Again, I'm going to lose a week because I have to travel for work next week. But I might pull it forward just so I can get it out sooner. Otherwise, I don't want people to wait until March, when if I just let things naturally, that's when it would come out. Okay, so Carney has 70 to 90% of his Brookfield dollars in America. I'm not surprised. I'm still trying. I would like to just, I have to look at it. First, it has to be finished and edited, which is going to take forever because it's a gigantic episode, and it's like, and because I'm using Riverside and it's 4K, it takes up so much memory that like things are super slow in editing it. But ideally, I would like to just take whatever I have at the end of January and just throw it to March and then put the Metzger episode there. But I just have to, I haven't even had time to process. Teasers. Yeah, lots of Mishlove like impressions. I might even have 2 thumbnails just to test it. In one thumbnail, I might just put his picture and just say like Jeffrey Mishlove, and then just see how it does. God, this camera. There we go. All right. Because being on Rogan, a known paid plant show, is an achievement. He's not a paid plant. There were things that I was told, not on camera, that there have been attempts to compromise him, and he's done very well in refusing those attempts. So that's all I'm going to say. China might be down 1 billion people, I heard. Well, not 1 billion, but they don't have 1 billion. They're probably half a billion to kind of somewhere halfway in between, because of the way that their people manipulate their, like petty functionaries manipulate their numbers because they get more money from the government, basically. All right, so Spiritual Ascension said they clearly picked their battles. They've created a lot of tech since then. Sure, but look, they could do well, but they don't have combat experience, and I can't overemphasize how important that is, right? It would be like going to war without. No, it would still be hard because China has the advantage is they have these cheap ballistic missiles that they can just fire everywhere and mess things up. And the US has the tyranny of vast distances. That's where the difficulty for the US would be in that scenario. Okay, so US expat Sean Kurtmetzer has 147.7K followers on X. I hope he shares your episodes that he does with you on his account. Maybe that 100K goal, but I hope so. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. Um, but he's a good dude. He's a genuinely good human being. That's what I like about him. He takes care of his friends too. He's been super like he talked about Nathaniel Gillis on Rogan. He's a good dude. So Spiritual Ascension said China ain't gonna let anyone know what they are up to behind closed doors. Yes, that's true, but again, we have such sophisticated technical intelligence that we know what's going on behind closed doors. And in fact, Xi is so paranoid that a lot of his generals don't know what the hell's going on. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. So Woo Riders DG must recently said openly US controls weapons from space. Yeah, that might be true. So Spiritual Ascension said, well, Australia is allies with America, so it's not like I would want China to win. I just know that they would. It depends. If we tried to invade China, yes, they would probably win. But if China tried to project its power somewhere, we would smoke them. We would absolutely smoke them. Again, it just depends on what it is. I mean, I could tell you what the first moves are. We would blockade the Strait of Malacca, cut off 90% of their oil supply. Game over. They would starve. I mean, it's not rocket science, you know? And they've done things to try to mitigate that, but we would just they would try to do the same to us with rare earth metals and things like that. It's not going to just go one way, but it would be ugly. I'm just saying, Vlad the Impaler. They are a very advanced force to be reckoned with. They shouldn't be underestimated, but they also shouldn't be overestimated. I think that's fair. Okay, so Woo Rider G, Jason, me, you, and Rob will be on Rogan before year's end. Once our research segment comes out, best believe that. Let's see. All right, so Solar US, the new fab was originally not planned to go online until 2028, but has now been moved forward to the second half of 2027. And TSMC is also planning a force fab. I hope they succeed. No try to sum Kerp up now. Yeah. Yeah, he's hard to, it's impossible. Correct. It is impossible. So if you look at the latest news on the 3 nanometer plant, so we'll come online next year. So just in time before an attack on Taiwan next year. They might attack in April or May of this year. Given that we just cut off one of their access to some of their oil in Venezuela. Let's see. Okay, with people like Zuckerberg and Trump, et cetera, on his show, the proof is in. To be fair, though, his audience is massive. So, like there are more people that watch the Rogan show than CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News combined. Probably, I haven't looked, but I think that's a fair bet. So they have to come on his show. And what's her name? Harris was going to go on too, but Harris tried to constrain it so that it was very short and it wasn't like a typical Rogan show. And, that's why she didn't appear on it. All right. So follow Reel's talk on China's real she has some good videos and evidence that China's real population is below 400 or 500 million. That's possible too. Tim not saying he's a big fish, but he's most definitely a plant. Oh, Tim Pool. He definitely gets money from like he was getting money either directly or indirectly from like Russian sources. So yeah, maybe just I know, man. Like it's just like Scott, it's like 7:49. I haven't even started yet because there's so much Asians are technology. See, I can do this stuff off the top of my head on geopolitics. I don't have to read a script, but I just, you know, I want to on the paranormal stuff. I actually have to read a script if I want to get into details. Let's see. America would never invade. No, they wouldn't. That would be insanity. It would be sheer insanity. You're correct. America would never invade China. Okay. Have I read the National War College Review, Volume 54, number blah, 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 how China might invade Taiwan? I probably skimmed it a few years ago if it was out a few years ago, but if it wasn't, then I probably didn't. Joe promotes post. Yeah, he does. He does. Kurt needs to get in there and remind him about the spiritual side of all this stuff. Thank you, Jesse. Oh yeah. Jesse, put in the comments where to go to get the owl, to get Marvin. Okay. And then I'll post it up here so people can find the address. But also if they have pictures that they want to 3D print, they can go to Sonoran 3D Forge or Forge. I can't remember if it would. Yes, no, it's a Sonoran Forge, Sonoran Forge, but just Sonoran Forge 3D, I think. But if you could just put the address in the comments, and I'll not the comments, but this thread, and I'll just post it. Yeah, he very well may be right. I'm just saying, like, it's possible that as soon as this year they could attack. I'm not. That's the question I'm never going to ask him. That has to happen organically or not at all. You know what I mean? It's like it's a weird thing. But I did ask him if he could connect me with Duncan Trussell because I've been trying to get Duncan Trussell on for a while. But you have to go through like a Hollywood agent and all that. So it's just like, oh, that's never going to happen. So he said he was gonna do something with that. But yeah, Rogan's got to want you to be on. You don't push or market yourself to. And plus, I haven't done anything that would justify me to be on that show at all. Right? It would be like people would be like, "Who's this clown? Why is he talking? Why are we watching him? What a clown!" Right? I would never ever ask Kurt that. Let's see. Trumpets, absolutely. I mean, like if it's the largest podcast in the world, absolutely they go on it. That's why, like, Harris wanted to go on it too. So, what about the future of Mexico? Are we going to absorb Mexico? I don't know. I would imagine that we would probably, although there was something, the psychoactive Pavel guy, right? He was talking about like the West Coast. That was like there was like a NOTAMs to airmen shutting down the airspace because there was some military operation from the U.S. like from the Pacific coast. So I imagine we'll probably get a little bit more aggressive there. But again, it's all going to be to consolidate the Western Hemisphere. Let's see. Okay, so let US expect. Yeah, I get why it would need to be organic. However, if he goes on Rogan's show again, he might, but I don't. Again, like, first of all, I would need to lose about 50 pounds. So, and given how hard I'm, like, how busy I am right now, I haven't. I was working on Christmas. Like, I was working on New Year's. I was working on New Year's Eve. Like I'm running as fast as I can just to, but I haven't been able to leave my house. So I have way too much going on, and I haven't asked him yet. I should ask him. He seems like a really good dude. He's starting to interview people that I interview a lot, and they're all coming back to me and saying he's a good dude. Nathaniel had a pretty. He's like, yeah, he's like, this guy's chill. He's got like this big, like I get on the call with him. He's smoking a blunt and he's just like chilled out. So he seems like a really good dude. So yeah, by the way, he's welcome if he. I mean, not that he's watching this, but he's always welcome. He seems like a pretty chill dude. I think I would like him. So Grand Emperor, talking of Rogan, what do you think? Who do you think is the one person who interview with him, or the one person whose interview with him would break the internet? Uh, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, guy, whatever her name is. I think that would break the internet. Okay. He's doing awesome. I talked to him today. I literally called him right after the Kurt interview and thanked him for making the connection and all that stuff. So we're all rooting for him. If you have to spend any energy on getting people on Rogan, spend energy on Nathaniel. But I told him he better write a freaking book so that he can take advantage of that experience. So he said he's already working it. So I probably shouldn't have said that, but because he didn't tell me any details or anything like that. But I told him he needs to take advantage of it. Yeah. All right. All right. I need to get started because people are like, I came here for cognitive warfare and I'm getting like whatever nonsense I've been spouting. All right. So I'm going to have to go very fast because I have 30 pages. Psychoactivo. Um, oops. Should I please ensure you maintain balance, sleep, good food, exercise, social contacts, etc. Work smart, but take time for it. The problem is like work won't get done. And like I tried to get ahead and I did because like January's been done, most of February's done. But I also started, I do some work for Stanford as a contractor. That all started, work kind of started back up. The remote viewing team stuff started back up. I actually got a lot of interviews done because I interview people for my publisher. So that I'm kind of got a ton of that stuff done. But I'm like overwhelmed right now. And I wanted to like professionalize other aspects of like this overall business, like put all my stuff in Quicken, and I'm paying for Quicken. I'm not even using it because I haven't had or QuickBooks because I haven't had time to like. I just haven't had any time. Um, but like to answer that timepiece, like this channel would have to be a crazy success in order for me to throttle back everything else, and I just haven't. I just have to do everything to maintain it, to keep it going, so I don't lose it. So forgot there was even a topic. Oh man, maybe I should just change the title and just call it current events, and then yeah. But the problem is at the very beginning of the video, it's all effed up, and then maybe I could just do it next week because there's no way I'm going to get through it. There's no way I'm going to get through it. All right, good. Thank you for checking your sub. I appreciate that, Spiritual Ascension. All right, well, this is interesting. Pavel has his latest show on Bank of England urged to start preparing for U.S. UFO disclosure to avoid catastrophe. I have to listen. Yeah, definitely. I have another project that's related to future forecasting, but it's also related to this show. She's on a tentative list, but that I'm sharing that list with the future forecasting group because they want me to do interview all the remote viewers on my channel But we're trying to like identify what the real definition of remote viewing is and all that stuff. So uh, she's on that list. I just I'm trying to get Dick Algire's attention, um, so that we can agree, and then I can just go and execute. And no, it's been owls have been quietly. It's been cold at night, so I think that's what it's related. I think there's something related to that. You can just skip the reading of the AI. It's pointless to read fast. Plus, it's more fun to interact with you like this. Yeah. I feel like I have stuff to talk about. When I don't have stuff to talk about, though, it's a good crutch. I understand. Hope it gets easier. It will. It's just one of those things that it's a marathon, and you just have to keep going and keep going and going and going and never stop. Nothing has ever come easy for me. It's just the way my life works. Everything that I've gotten has been absolute, just relentless, like just powering through. Like I started writing professionally, like, or at least submitting stuff in 2010. And like I still this I've published some professional short stories, but no publishers ever bought one of my books or traditionally or anything like that. Now there was that whole cultural issue, like woke, the woke movement and stuff like that, basically pushed out anyone to the right of Stalin from traditional publishing, with some exceptions, like my publisher, Bain Books. Arc Press is another thing. But any other publisher for science fiction and horror, if they even have a hint that you're to the right of John F. Kennedy, they won't publish you. They just won't. So there's been like a decade like that where people like me who are decent writers, I don't want to say I'm a great writer, but are decent writers, have not been able to have been given some of a shot. Like Bain is seriously considered two novels that I sent them, right? But ultimately didn't buy them. But they seriously considered them each for like a year or whatever. Um, so I've gotten to the point where I'm just going to publish my own stuff and move on, because people like me have to go the independent route, right? Like if YouTube didn't exist, this channel, like someone like me doesn't start a channel like this, like in the normal old world type arrangement. And I just found something that was fascinating to me, and I just followed. Call it, when people used to ask me like, "What's your passion?" I would get really like flummoxed, because I'd be, passion? What kind of fucking nonsense is that? And since starting this channel, I love being creative. Like I've created like all this. Like I'm doing everything myself. I probably shouldn't be, but I don't make enough to like outsource anything, and I'm not willing to spend more money than I take in, because I'm just cheap. Right? I bootstrap everything. Now, other podcasters who have much better production values, frankly, do that. They do outsource some of this stuff, and because of that, they're more successful than I am. I don't want to name them because it's pretty obvious who they are, but they put out a superior product. There's no doubt about it, and I admire them for that. They're taking more relative risk than I am, but I'm also producing a lot more content. And I guarantee if I looked at their financials, my margins are much higher from a percentage basis. On an absolute basis, they're probably most certainly making more money. But like my margins are above 90%, something like that. Like although they're thinning down a little bit, because I'm starting to build in redundancy into my operation, where I save all my videos 3 times, right? So I have like 2 external drives for every episode, or not every, you know what I mean? Every episode goes on 2 external drives, and then I'm paying like $300 a month to upload them to the cloud, and that amount's gonna double because I've already exceeded my terabyte thing. So like costs are starting to steadily go up. I would like to leverage more like AI video sort of stuff into what I'm doing, and I'm trying to keep that cost down, but that cost is going to steadily rise. But what AI is allowing people like me to do is we're becoming our own personal corporations. Like corporations are literally now becoming or people. And I think it's going to create an entire niche for people to have careers in the future, but it's also going to take aim at traditional institutions that frankly have become too woke and have driven out people who otherwise would have been productive members of those communities. So many, and again, I'm not making this is not an excuse, but many white males who are on the kind of slightly to the right of John F. Kennedy, we have to go our own way. We're not going to make excuses and say poor me, because that, like, I don't like, the conditions have changed, so you adapt and overcome. It's as simple as that. No excuses, but the culture and institutions have become so corrupt and polluted that the only way you can go is to be independent, and is just figure it out and do it on your own. And that's the way, which is fine, right? I It's totally fine. Hey, Jalal, good to see you. This is actually pretty fun. I don't know what's fun about this. I'm just ranting like a little bitch. But plus, that means you have more time to do XYZ and not generate an AI script for next week, since you have the material from today. Yeah, I might probably do that. I'll probably, after this is over, probably just change the thumbnail just so it's honest, and then I'll just yeah, I mean, there's no way I'm going to be able to read 30 pages of stuff. I'll just push it off the next week. It'll actually save me time, since I'll be out of I'll be traveling anyway. I won't have time. I'll be super stressed. So it is what it is. By the way, if you're just joining, we're not going to discuss cognitive warfare today. We're going to discuss it next week. I've basically run out of time. I'm just going to call it geopolitical update or something like that. And then that is what it is, which is, this is not ideal. It's not a professional operation here, but sometimes you have to go. Not everyone will get quiet. Yeah, then I'll have to, that's right. And then I'll have to come up with 54 minutes of material. All right, maybe just associative remote viewing, the daily 3 and yeah, we could do something like that. H.P. Lovecraft's cat curse. What was H.P. Lovecraft cat? What was the cat curse? Tell me more about that. I mean, I'm not going to say the name of his cat, right? It's like rhymes with Wigger Man. Yeah, it's a little awkward naming. Okay, so Sean, are you allowed to suggest remote viewing targets for FFG? What about the future, or maybe like the future of Soul, or if war would break out in? I could ask, but I don't have the ability. In fact, there was someone who came to me who's been a prior guest, and did like a show for me, and then asked me to do like a remote viewing target. I'm still trying to convince Blue Team to take it on. I'm going to try again on Monday and ask them, but I need to get back to that person and say, hey, I'm trying. But thing is, they're doing one thing every week. So right now I don't have any influence over that, but is Algier your remote viewing buddy? I don't know what you mean by remote viewing buddy, but I'm friendly with him. But he's not on my, he's on the other team. He's on like the more experienced team. I run Blue Sky team. Have you considered home manifestation course? I have it. I mean, I would consider it, but I literally have no time, you know? An interesting guest, Guy Anderson, the guy who wrote about the clones, Cabbage Patch Kids. I could look into it. Yeah, thanks, Time Series Adventure. Okay, this works. Nice. It flows. I don't want to get through it. By the way, that word that I was alluding to is a filter word. Like if you use that in any, like in a comment, I won't, like, it'll go straight to hold, and I have to personally approve it. And the reason I do that is, like, I don't want somebody coming to my page and using that word and then having YouTube see it and then like cancel my account for community standards. So I have a lot of like trigger words like that. So even if you curse, like if you wonder, like when you type something in and your comment doesn't appear, it's not because I deleted it. It's because you said one of those trigger words, which are generally profanity and half the words that I already used earlier. But I do it to protect the account. So, and then like I'll allow it sometimes, but sometimes there'll be a long delay if you use profanity. That's why there's a long delay because I haven't checked, whether or not I got booted. I bet Eric Weinstein would be a good interview for you. Maybe speak about gauge theory. Uh, yeah, he's his personality is not compatible with mine. Let's just say. Um, I think he's a good person. I think he's an exceptionally intelligent person. Uh, but there's like, I don't want to speak poorly of him because I think he's a good person. But he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna. He's a smart guy, but he's the smartest guy he knows. I think I said like, or he appears to be the smartest guy. That doesn't mean he thinks he is. Again, I'm trying to say that with love, but I like that would on a subconscious level like really irritate me, and I'm worried I wouldn't be able to control myself. But just yeah. So I mean, Dick has a Korean wife. Doesn't he want to know if war would ever break out in the Korean? That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, that's for sure. THC just interviewed him. Great. So what's THC? Oh, the History Channel. I got it. It's fair. Love HP, a little paranoid, cloistered. I think you mean waspish, but spot on in his unknown terror always captured me spiritual. Cat's name was, well, man, not boy, but yeah, correct. Correct. It's a weird, like, it's just a weird. Yeah, Scott gets me. You get me, Scott. You understand. Like a kid who grew up as a lower class Irishman, like we don't. It's hard for us to suffer personalities like that. I'll just say that. Yeah. By the way, uh, Kurt asked me if I ever talked to him, and I'm like, yeah. And he's never responded. And Kurt was like, really? He's like, you interview everybody. I watch your show all the time. And I said, yeah. He just never. To be fair, I reached out to him once, so that doesn't like that's lack of persistence on my part. But I bet you I'd be able to get up. But I would like to read some of his stuff. Like, that's the thing. Like I have so much stuff that I just bought like 2 new bookshelves via my business for all the books that I buy for this business, right? And like I still have so many books that I haven't finished reading yet. Like I'm just, I mean, literally, like I try to optimize every second I have. So when I go and I take a shit, I always take a book and I make sure I'm using that time wisely in reading. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I, I'm sure TMI, right? All right. Yes, Mitch. He seems doesn't mean is. He seems, and it's like, yeah, I hear he has amazing books, and he's got like a degree, a PhD from like Oxford or Cambridge or something like that. Like he's a really bright guy. Wayne Teal, yeah, yeah. By the way, that guy who's ambassador to Denmark, he originally worked at PayPal, so he's linked to Teal too. I'm literally 1 degree of freedom away from Teal along multiple dimensions. I know off the top of my head at least 2 people who I'm 1 degree of separation away from Teal, and there's probably more people. I just don't. I'm not actually no 3 I can think of off the top of my head. They're all related to when I was an undergrad at Stanford. That's where I know all these people. Um, higher side. Oh, the higher side chats. Yeah, I don't know anything about Timmy. What's the name of the actor? What's the name of that actor you want on your show? One of your subscribers. Oh, it's Richard Grieco, Woo Riders DG. I don't give him a hard time because I just assume when Richard Grieco is ready, Richard Grieco will be ready. But that's yeah. See Greg Profer. All right, guys, you convinced me not to read through my 32-page script, but I only got one more comment left. Yes, and it was like patristics. Yeah, like some weird thing I had never heard of before, but it's very specific. It's something to do with like religion and philosophy, or I'd have to look up what patristics means again. But yeah, um, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. I appreciate you. I appreciate not reading those long. Goodness. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. So, people had asked if I would ever post. Oh, what's this? Greek looks possessed. He's like painting now or something. Makes sense. So, patristics is the branch of Christian theology that deals with the lives, writings, and doctrines of early Christian theologians. Patristics, like patriarchs, is probably its root, I bet. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. That's actually a nice little mnemonic that would fit. Okay, I have 45 minutes. What are we talking about, people? Because I sure as hell can't auctioneer that 32-page script at this point. Oh, I was just getting into this. So, what do folks want me to do with the scripts? I I have all of them. I could upload them somewhere, but look, I'm just being honest. I'm going to be a little bit. I want to be a little bit mercenary. So I was thinking of just creating a Substack account and then just cutting, pasting them, and maybe having like a $5 monthly subscription or something maybe even cheaper than that. And then if people wanted to just go and download, I don't want to mix it with like Patreon or anything like that because I just came up with the idea but generated it on AI. So I don't want to mix that with my current Substack account or my current Patreon account. But but I just like if I make time, I have to make it worth my time, right? Otherwise, I can't. There's too much going on right now. Nathan Sissick would be enough. What does Nathan Sissick do? Oh, so Sean, I emailed you back in August and you never emailed back. Then again, a few months ago, mentioned it again. Which account did you email me on? Maybe I missed it, or I mean, because I can just go and check and then just reply. So that if that's the case, that's on me. Um, okay, so maybe you could reach out to him. We're about getting. Oh, yeah, I could ask Brandenburg. I would feel totally comfortable asking him. So Joseph Atwill, Caesar Messiah is an interesting deep dive. Etymology, philology, typology. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I can ask him. Ah, he talks exopolitics too. Huh. Okay. Through a glass darkly, Sean one. Through a glass darkly, Sean. Oh. The through a glass darkly, Sean. That one. That email. Let me check. Let me see. You said it was back in guys, where is this? Back in August. Um Benton. Was it beginning or end of August? All right, now let's just let's see. God damn it. Okay. Nope. Yeah, I don't see anything. I wonder if it went to like spam, but the spam would have been deleted by now. Let's see. Yeah, actually, there's a few things that I got that I didn't see in my spam folder. Let's see. I'm getting a lot of emails for like people who are like video editors, and it's just like, if I got this far, why would I pay anybody for video editing? Yeah, people have asked. I've never reached out to them. I need to. This thing. This camera keeps doing this shit. All right. Um. Yeah, I do need to reach out to them. I haven't reached out to them yet. Yeah, I couldn't find it. The spiritual ascension has thoughts about Sala. Goku Galloway email. All right, let me do a quick search on that. Uh, all right, let's see. Okay, it's not that one. It's not that one. No. Yeah, there's something about Brian Singh, but Brian Singh, as I know, never sent me an email. So I saw that one. That was in June, and then there's another one I think you sent in June. Yeah, I don't see anything about Richard Grieco at all. So either it just never got to my got to my account, or something else happened. Okay, Sean, he lies for Who lies for attention? Oh, Sala. I got it. I got it. Sorry, I put together. So that US expat, Dr. Sala is an interesting cat. He has some very interesting things to say. He has some good info about Huntsville, Alabama, and apparently the secret underground base. Just search under that email. Not sure when it was. It should be like 4 or 5 emails. Yeah, I literally went through every email you ever sent me. I don't. There's nothing. Um. Oh, Danon. Huh. Interesting. Have I ever watched? Oh, Danan. I think I've watched her before. That's high risk strategy. Mitch Sandman says, "What do you think is going to happen in Minneapolis?" Uh, I think there's a 5% chance Waltz goes to prison for defrauding the U.S. government. But since nobody is ever held accountable at the top, I doubt that'll happen. That's 95% chance nothing happens. Uh, I mean, as far as what I've seen, it's mostly a bunch of awfuls, right? So affluent white female liberals, right? So nothing, nothing, because you had 10 years of like a lot of these like white liberal women just being completely out of control. Because again, they're not socialized like men are. Whereas if you behave that way around a bunch of boys when you're a kid, they'll beat the piss out of you. And women just, these white, like affluent liberal women didn't have that experience growing up. So they think they can like run people over and stuff like that. The other thing too is a lot of these ICE guys are combat veterans, right? So you have these people who are completely delusional, thinking that they can ignore federal agents, and then they find out, right? Like you don't, especially somebody who's like been in a war zone, who people actively tried to kill him. And by the way, the same guy had been dragged 100 feet by another car, several months ago, right? And I don't know why they put him back on the street, but and you heard him like after he capped good, right? He kind of leaves and says "effing bitch," like that's somebody who's been to war, right? So these people, these liberal women, are literally behaving in a way that's is against every survival instinct most normal people have, right? If a federal officer tells you to stop, you stop. Even if they're wrong, you stop. That's what the court system's for. You let the court system handle it after it happens. It's annoying, but like you don't define, or especially if someone's pointing a weapon at you. So I don't think anything's going to happen in Minneapolis, right? Because there's the side that is kind of opposing it is just they're a bunch of loudmouths that their entire source of power was their ability to cancel somebody from society. That's literally the only power they've wielded for 10 years. And now people are just like, enough. We're tired of your shit. So, hopefully an example was set. And if they continue to behave this way, I don't think I think Waltz is in the death ground right now. He knows that he could face prison given the just grotesque waste of federal tax dollars in his state. I mean, do I write a fucking check to the US federal government, or should I write it to Somali daycares? Right? Like I work my ass off, and these people just fucking stole my money and sent it back to Somalia. So, like, I have zero sympathy for those people in Minneapolis right now. Zero. Right? I work my ass off 100 hours a week, like forever. And I have absolutely zero sympathy for these corrupt pieces of fucking shit that are trying to stir shit up against the United States. At the end of the day, I am loyal to the United States. I am not loyal to any state in the union at all. So, anyway, sorry, I'm gonna tone it down, but like, I have zero sympathy. Brian's saying, I don't even know who he is. I just know he was recommended. Oh, I froze up. Oh God, am I frozen up again? I shouldn't be now, but not Sala. Okay, yeah. Elaine, I think it's Elena Denan is probably, yeah, yeah. Spiritual Ascension beat me to it. She's close with Sala. Okay, Sala doesn't promote her anymore. They had a falling out. There's so much drama in that community. I don't know who Danny Henderson is. Common denominator being Denon. Oh yeah, Kurt brought up Tim Tactical. I'm like, I don't know, man. The guy's got like a pencil. Oh, you described as he has like a pencil thin mustache. I'm like, that guy. I don't know. I don't know anything about him, but he's just like, the vibe is like sketch. That's all I can say. Let's see. Yes, around UF, find out you will. Correct. Demons get off when we are. Yes, correct. Protesters think it's a game. Yeah, but they're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. Again, these they're combat veterans on the street right now, and they're all tired of this shit. They're tired of the entitlement. They're tired of the childish behavior. They're tired of the lack of rule of law. They're tired of the criminals being sent out in the street. They're tired of illegal immigrants flooding the country and causing all sorts of mischief. They're tired of fentanyl. They're tired of watching their friends, what is it? What's the euphemism for the self-ending, right? Like they're tired of their friends self-ending. Like they're not having it anymore. They're just not. I mean, you heard that guy killed somebody, and his first instinct was effing bitch. Like that's who you're dealing with. These are some stone cold killers out there. And they're not fucking around anymore. So and police do whatever the F they want. I'm telling you, if I have a gun and you're driving a car at me, like, I shouldn't have said the G word, but like, I'm not hesitating either. I've heard reporting that they're showing up with, yeah, I mean, if they want to escalate, go right ahead. Go right ahead, because these people don't know how to war, and the people they're up against do. Okay, everyone listening should brush up on what abuse. Yeah, but again, when somebody tells you, a federal agent tells you to stop your vehicle, you don't drive toward them, especially if they're pointing a weapon at you. It's common sense. All right, so Tim Beck, cloistered DEI managerial class versus real hard in life, hard in real life. It's a shame, cause and effect. Don't fight a guy with a gun. Simple. Yeah, correct. Correct. Abuse sounds like fact. Yep. All right, so Soulite US said maybe you ought to do a show on Inner Earth and interview Ed Reardon again because he remote viewed the center of the Earth. Maybe mix it with AI info. Yeah, I should. By the way, as part of that thing I talked about earlier, I'm going to need to interview Ed Reardon again anyway. Love the Inner Earth. I still want you to interview John B. Let's put him on the list. It's just, oh my God. I think the awful are sacually, you spelled that deliberately. Thank you. Frustrated. We should raise money for a but here's the thing, like the whole propaganda thing that created these awfuls is part of this depopulation effort, right? It's just, you demonize white men and then you create these like creatures that are just completely like off the ranch. Like, what did they think was going to happen? Yeah, no more mooching and scamming. That's right. Influencers as snake oil salesmen. Hopefully, it doesn't get that far. And by the way, it wouldn't be what you think a traditional war. It would be like night and fog. You would see leaders of various political parties just disappear under night and fog, and no one would know where they went and all that. Like it would be really nasty and ugly, but yeah. Hopefully we don't get that far. Yeah. All right, there's a real invasion happening inside, which people are projecting outside. Yeah, that's true too. Like China and Russia probably were behind some of this. Venezuela admitted as such that they were sending all these prisoners and stuff like that into the U.S. Um, which is why the Chinese are going to find out in Peru and anywhere they have interest in the United States. We will blow them the fuck out. So it's coming. Like they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done this shit. Like they're trying to do opium wars in reverse with the whole fentanyl poisoning. I hope you're happy with that because we are going to blow you the fuck out of this hemisphere. I don't know why I'm getting all excited. Rip Breton, Solon, and the Dero connection. Yeah, the Dero's the underground folks, right? It's a global issue. They are demonizing everyone. All right, so I'm not from the West. They are playing. Yeah, that's the other thing too. They're trying to get everybody riled up internally. The plan of Marxists was to get everyone obsessed with race and gender. I don't. It doesn't matter pro or anti. Yeah, I don't even think Mark Lame 3318 says that. So I don't think it's a Marxist thing. I think it's a oligarch elite thing. They're trying to divide and conquer, and that's just part of the plan. I don't even think it's Marxist. I don't even think it's Marxist capitalist. I think that's also a false dichotomy, even though the two systems are very different. So I've interviewed somebody on this channel in the early days. His name's Nick Mamatas. He is an avowed communist, and he's a friend because he's like when I ask him about it, like why didn't it work? He has a good answer. Do I agree with the answer? Not necessarily, but he's thoughtful about it. And I've watched him too, like see all this kind of insanity and like while we don't agree on communism versus capitalism, like over the years, him and I have like converged in terms of like just closer to like this whole system is effed up. We're both kind of there for different reasons, but like again, he is an avowed communist, and I went to the West Point of capitalism for graduate school, right? So like there's something else. Like there's a lot of false dichotomies. Brought to you by Subaru. All right, so Lynn Buchanan got data that the population will be reduced by 75%. Yeah, by 2040. Is it that year? No, it's 2040. By 2040. I can't remember if that's true. That's only. I hope he's wrong. He hopes he's wrong. But everything that's been happening so far, he has seen. He's like, it's all like the pandemic was like the first thing he saw people like the schools were closed and like people were working from home. Like he saw all that stuff like in like the 1990s. All right, by inside I meant molecularly. Okay, so like, I was very impressed by it with that. Well, it's because Delta did it. I mean, like those guys are the best special ops unit in the world. Like better than I mean, SEAL Team 6 is probably would beg to differ, but between those two, uh, they're good at shooting. Believe me, you never want to get into a gunfight with Delta ever. All right, so Marxists opened up the dialogue and made it all about race and gender. Yeah, they tended to be Marxist, but that's the face of it. The background is there's something else that's at a transnational level that is trying to depopulate. And that if you look at it that way, everything that seems batshit insane, it all makes sense if you think, does that advance depopulation or does it slow or does it like against depopulation? And when you're having both men and women have to work to survive if they're married, right? There's fewer people to take care of kids. Women are being encouraged to you go girl, you be a girl boss, like you don't need a man, you can do it. And they're taught to to favor hypergamy, right? So the top 5% of men are enjoying 90% of women. And then meanwhile, the rest of the 95% of men are just like, all these women are run through. I have no desire to be around them. Right. They're like, Why would I want to start a life with somebody who's been with 30 men? Right? It's just not what men value. And so that's kind of what's going on. Like, I'm worried about my son because he's not like he's probably average looking, right? But he's a little bit socially awkward, but he's brilliant. And like, I want to have grandchildren, and I don't know if that's going to happen because I look at like some of these women, and it's just like there is nothing. I'm lucky. I'm lucky I found my wife early. I'm so thankful for that. And we were relatively innocent when we met, and it's been great. It's like I'm so thankful for it. But if I were a single man today, I don't think I would even try. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So anyway, so it's all part of the like they change class to race and gender. Yeah, but that's also like anti-human, right? Class is one thing, but race and gender, like you put the genders against each other, you're not going to have any children. It's dehumanizing. Let's see. Yeah, Hegelian dialect, that's for sure. The thesis, the antithesis, and yeah, so the dialectic, right? SBS are right up. Oh yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. Special boat service and SAS too. I'd throw in, right? Because the Delta is based on the SAS, right? Um, so Sam Cooper, Canadian journalist, wrote a whole book documenting the whole fentanyl conspiracy. Receipts provided. Surprised he's still here. I suspect he has protection. Hung Coover. Yeah, SAS, absolutely. I believe they have done resets through war, and we are seeing one being done silently. I'm talking molecularly. Oh yeah, yes, yes. I know exactly what you're saying. It's the medicine. The medicine. Take a take a spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down. You're talking about the medicine. Yeah, I was forced to take the medicine, and that I actually had the plague, and it was a cough. It was a long lasting cough for like 8 weeks, and that's it. But I took the medicine, and my lymph nodes, like, shit happened to me that has never happened to me before or since. Like, I don't go to the doctor anymore because I don't trust them. You should all go to the doctor. YouTube, I'm being balanced. Everyone should go to the doctor and do exactly and take all the pharmaceuticals and do everything exactly as the doctors say. You should do exactly what they say, blah, 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 because they're always right. Institutions always right. Institutions always right. Okay. All right. I just needed to balance that out with the official propaganda. So sorry, folks. So New York City isn't going to be around by what 20. That's what I mean. They saw. They were there. The viewers were to view New York, and all their data, there were no buildings. They were seeing fields. They were seeing like water. They were seeing like meteorites hitting the ocean. So that's what they saw, but they didn't see New York, whatever that means. So, and I think it was they looked at by 2075, but they may have done something before that. That was 2040. So Brendan O'Carroll has been documenting the dirt and corruption for years. Look into him, people. I never heard a man say he wants a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. Look, it's good to have a strong, independent woman, but like, nothing wrong with that. But the problem is the whole system's set up so both sexes have to work, right? You can't really survive. I mean, I'm the only one in my household that works, but you see how hard I'm working. So I'm like a mule. They did? Canada launched its mandatory gun collection yesterday? Come on. All right, I got to look this up. All right, I'm putting in ChatGPT. Did Canada launch a mandatory gun collection program yesterday? Yes. Oh my God. I'm just going to read this because this is mind blowing. Yes, on January 17th, that's today, the government of Canada officially opened a national firearms compensation. Oh, it's a compensation program for eligible gun owners, but it is not a mandatory confiscation where police seize guns that day. Okay, so what actually happened yesterday? So Canada's assault-style firearms compensation program, ASCAP, ASFCP, was formally launched nationwide by Public Safety. Oh my! It's for your safety. Eat some bugs by Public Safety Canada on January 17th, 2026. That's today. It allows firearms owners whose guns are on the prohibited list to declare their firearms and participate in a buyback style program with compensation. Owners with a valid possession and acquisition license, a PAL, oh, that's nice, will be notified starting January 19th and have until March 31st, 2026 to submit a declaration through an online portal or by mail. After the declaration period, participants who have declared will schedule appointments to turn in their prohibited firearms from Dallas. Fuck you! Oh my God. So it is mandatory. Important details. The program is voluntary. It's for your safety in the sense that compensation requires participants to opt. Yeah, in the sense that compensation requires participants to opt in. But if you don't opt in, it's prohibited. Compliance with the law is mandatory. Anyone who still possesses prohibited firearms after the amnesty. Oh, it's amnesty because they committed a crime. Fuck you. They were just owning guns to protect themselves. Amnesty period ends, currently set for October 30th, 2026, must dispose of or permanently deactivate them or risk criminal liability. This is essentially a national gun buyback compensation program, not a one-day mandatory collection sweep. Canada has progressively banned more than 2,500 makes and models of assault-style firearms since 2020 as part of its gun law regime. Earlier phases include pilot buyback efforts and business-only compensation programs that have already collected thousands of prohibited firearms. Bottom line, Canada did launch a major firearm compensation program yesterday, but it's not a sudden mandatory gun count. I mean, even the blue hairs are like shaping language here. I mean, basically, okay, so it will be illegal to own certain types of previously legal firearms in Canada by October 30th. Correct? Yes. So it's confiscation. Oh my God. But even ChatGPT is using weasel words. Oh boy, the recording. All right. I probably froze again. What do the ladies in your life think about the women today and what's wrong with them? That's, I mean, my wife basically just shrugs. It doesn't really get into it. And then I obviously can't talk with anybody at work about this because I could get canceled. So I don't. So I don't know what they think. But all right, so like yes, after my divorce, women frightened me, even though the divorce was mutual. Yeah. All right, so spread crime, then create 15-minute cities, but people organically call for this. It's less people pulling strings and more of us manifesting. Yeah, could be. Okay. All right. Really enjoy this free flow format tonight. Well, there's stuff to talk about, so It's fine, but I have to like change the stupid thumbnail because I don't want to have false advertising. Because right now it's false advertising, not intentionally, but it's kind of how it developed. Do you think? Yes, yes. Um, so people who follow yeah, that's what I've been told. Now, whether or not what I've been told is true, I can't verify, but um, my understanding is that there are 100-year plans. Population's too high. We are a resource, and there's too many resources required to generate the output that's needed. So yes, it's definitely being driven by, or it seems to be. There's no need for war and all. They can depopulate and invade us through tech and all. Data centers would be being built underground if they feared war. Um, well, I think it's just going to be a mix of all these things. I think. Well, yeah, I'm not going to say what I was about to say because YouTube would ban me. Dr. Joseph Campbell interviewed a doctor in Australia as to what to take to help dissolve and break up the There's somebody, the future forecasting group, like Dr. Scotty or something like that. He's got like a protocol apparently, but again, I'm not touching it. I'm not going to talk about it. All right, the saver society becomes the stronger the demons residing in these societies ferment. When you see real danger, you know how to deal with danger. Yeah. So 25,000 guns on list after October. We are all criminals. I think you know what you need to do. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but we all know what you need to do. I'd find a nice, get out that compass, find a place out in the woods, and create a cache, and break glass in case of emergency. Because, I mean, like, why would you give that government your weapons after they canceled people's bank accounts for fucking protesting? They took your means to feed your family away from you. That was your personal property because they fucking protested. Like, that is an authoritarian regime, and now they're taking your weapons? Come on, man. But don't worry, give it a decade, and you will be part of the good US of A, and you will be able to own as many weapons as you like to defend yourself from criminals far and wide. So, like, it's just like the UK and Canada are out of their goddamn minds right now. At least the governments are. I love Canadians and I love the Brits. And I'm just like, guys, like, how long does it take before you fucking lose your fucking minds? Like, these people are not your friends. Like, the people running your governments are the enemy. Like, everything they do is like worse off for the population. I don't know how you put up with it. Like, in our country, we just voted the clowns out because they were destroying our country too, and they were curbing our speech too. They get the fuck out. And that's what happened. But, and even then, they were having, like in my state, they were having illegals vote. You literally could not show them your ID. Like, it's just bizarre. It's crazy land. All right. I hope it fails. Get SKSs from the natives. It was frozen for a little bit, for a second. Yeah, I think it's yeah. I saw it freeze for a second. When I think of Canada, I think of Folgers instant decaf. Have you noticed that the phenomenon manifests two basic ways? Some an adversary and some bring help from messages. In Hebrew, adversary means messenger. Sounds very yeah. There's stuff that's more concrete and pushy. That's the bad stuff. And then there's stuff that's more subtle and you have to ask for it. And that seems to be the good stuff. It could be the same, like two sides of the same coin, though. So, what's the most interesting review that you have worked on so far? What's the most shocking new info that you've learned since working? The stuff from Michael is the most shocking. I don't. Who knows? Most interesting, but the stuff that's shocking is the stuff from Michael, which is basically like the people who run the planet are trying to kill you. Let's see. Yeah, on a like I didn't cover any of the stuff that I've advertised because I got into a rabbit hole again. All right, so gotcha. Undrip policy won't work for non-natives. I don't know if they're working for FFG, but they have like an affiliate of different companies, and there's a guy named Dr. Scotty that they work with. Okay, so guns might not cut it if it all goes after us. When fishing, they all got lost. AI is nothing but a parrot at this stage. The Boston Dynamic videos are all. I don't know. I think they're real. Jarvis is nothing without vision. Here in the boat. Canadian feds charged the. Oh yeah, that was messed up too. They charged them $10,000 after slaughtering hundreds of ostriches. Yeah, I remember that. It was almost like they killed the ostriches because the ostriches had a natural immunity to not equine flu, but like a chicken flu or something, like a avian flu. That's just like that's weird. They have a natural immunity to something you want to unleash on people, maybe. Who knows? Okay, that will be one of the catalysts. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know, but to have access, but to just be separated from their totalitarian regime. Well, yeah, that's 100. Well, I mean, that's what Minnesotans are about to find out. Because the Minnesotans who know how to stay sharp and use weapons and know like doctrine and tactics are not going to be the ones that try to shoot at feds. It's going to be all these awfuls who think that now that they have a gun, they're tough. Okay. Yes, absolutely, like California, where I live, which is the worst. I mean, the natural landscape is absolutely beautiful and stunning, and I love it. But the government is complete. I mean, they just destroyed $1 trillion of the state's tax base by even floating the idea of this 5% billionaire, one-time only billionaire tax. And then they tried to sneak in to make it retroactive to January 2026. So like half the billionaires in the state freaking left. So because of that, I've asked, because I don't have any freaking time, my wife to start looking for other places to live. Because if they can't get the tax base from them, it's going to start to trickle down. And before I know it, like now I'm paying 55% of my fucking income to a government somewhere, right? Like it's already intolerable. But now it's going to get worse. I'm getting the fuck out of here if that's the case. Right? So if that thing passes, I'm gone. I'm out of this state. You got to be nuts. And we also used to be able to pass our tax basis of our house onto our heirs. But they eliminated that apparently in 2021 through some fucking secret referendum shit through the back door because of the Association of Realtors. Fuck you. Right? Like, so now I have less of an incentive to keep my house. And if they get rid of this proposition where your tax basis can increase by more than 2% per year for your housing, then I'm definitely selling and getting the hell out. Because you're going to grow old, and all of a sudden, if real estate prices continue to accelerate like they always do in California, you could be homeless when you grow old. It's messed up. Yeah, Washington's a basket case too. He never had a full English, just a malnourished Irish. Yeah, indeed. So late U.S. expert. I was shocked to learn that they make money off us when we die. Apparently, like something about us being traded in the stock. Yeah, there's some sort of monetary system associated with your birth certificate. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. The Peter J interview was bombed. What was the Peter J interview? I'm like completely had to move 3 trees out of the roadway with my dad on the way to oncologist, getting more fit every day. Indeed. AI is useful mirror to help people see themselves if used well. Fair. I'm still not sure why they want to kill us off. What was the power structure again? The Vatican allegedly reports to some alien race that created us. That's Mike. That's what Michael has said. Again, I have no way to validate whether that's true, but the power structure is the leaders of countries are basically CEOs of these corporate structures. These corporate structures are owned by people who have part of the bloodline. The bloodline, their blood has more copper to it, or has more copper in it than commoners, and that copper is where they get the term blue blood, right? Um, and then these royal bloodlines report apparently to the Vatican. The Vatican reports to something that's off-world. I don't know if something. I don't know what the something is. That's off-world, likely administered from the moon, and then that's kind of the way it works. Again, there's no way for me to verify this. I sound crazy when I talk about it, but that this is kind of roughly how Michael might explain it. Have you ever tried to lib love grizzly? No, I think a grizzly would eat me. I don't believe in the idea that tech dwells from this evil force. I believe something neutral shapes how each iteration of the matrix works. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Seems most policies are. Well, no, most of them have been compromised by Epstein Island. If that's not clear, I don't know what is. Like the entire power. Why is it that the most mediocre people are in charge? The most mediocre, base, and corrupt human beings are in charge. It's because they're the most compromisable. They're the most likely to be psychopaths, and the only way to manage psychopaths is to have dirt on them so that you can destroy them if they get too psychopathic. He should be fucking panicking. He lost $1 trillion in his fucking tax base. He should be panicking. Like, I mean, 5% of your net, you realize what you have to do? Like, if you're a family that owns a bunch of farms, you're going to have to sell your farms and disrupt the food supply. If you're a family, or if you're like Elon Musk, and if you still had a home in California, you would have to sell massive amounts of stock in order to comply with this stupid law. You sell massive amounts of stock, you put downward pressure on volume on the stock price, it causes a chain reaction, and you like depress the stock market for no other reason than some stupid fucking law. Like, it's just these people who are running things have no basic understanding of like super simple cause and effect, first, not even first order, let alone second, third, fourth order effects. Like, it's just like morons, absolute morons. Okay, so yeah, Annie is saying I left California because of the insanity. Went, oh my god, yeah, you went from the jumped out of the fire, like jumped out of the frying pan and right into the fire. Yeah, now in another state. What state? What state? Like, I like how like Washington's beautiful, but it just rains constantly. Yeah, 55%. Yeah. Which state? I don't know. I just want to live in a state where the taxes are low. There's lots of mountains and it's heavily forested. The cold, don't mind it. Don't mind winter. Need to see some sunlight though. Like, I'd prefer dry. I don't like humid. So that seems a lot like the Mountain West, but I don't like Colorado's just been kind of destroyed by the pot market, basically. So I don't know. How is Gavin even in charge after because half the people that vote in this state are illegal. That's why, and they get all sorts of. Well, it's not. I mean, that's not factually accurate, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's just the whole thing. It's like voting is not real in California. It's just not. Move to the beautiful state. I might go to like British Columbia if that became a state. That might be a nice, like, not in Vancouver, but like out in the countryside, right? It's kind of like Washington State, but it's or Banff would be amazing, right? Just like in the mountains and all that good stuff. But All right, we are legally declared dead 7 days after we are born and then treated as assets. Cargo papers and birth certificates is the same. Yikes. In Colorado, people don't go to jail for using DMT. That is kind of cool. We are lost cargo at sea. Bomb 90s reference. Awesome. Oh, Peter J. Carroll. Oh, yeah, he's the bomb. I got it. I got it. Yeah, when you said Peter J, I'm like, yeah, he is the bomb. I'm interviewing him again in February. We're going to talk about chaos magic in business. By the way, he is an awesome human being. I really like him. Someone needs to view these off-world entities at the vet. I think Ingo Swann did. And there's an apocryphal story of someone else who tried to do it, like in the CIA, and he didn't return. Like the guy's body went catatonic. So I don't. It might not be safe to do that. Yeah, PAC money is definitely a big problem. I posit AI is provided to the public to protect elite criminals. Any video evidence can be refuted as being, yeah, that's fair. Gold will like double this year. Bonga, see crazy gold prices. Oh yeah, actually Idaho I've thought about too. There's parts of it that are flat that I don't like, but there's parts that are near like Yellowstone that kind of nice. So Idaho's probably not a bad idea. I just want to know how cooked are we? I'm a 30-year-old, 35-year-old starving artist. Need a new skill. Following a path to be a composite specialist. I'm basically a black. Uh, Take advantage of AI. I can foresee like people who run landscaping business. People are going to start like leasing, like Tesla Optimus bots, and start training them to do like manual labor. And you'll see people running teams of Optimus bots doing landscaping and stuff like that. Like this stuff is coming. So that there'll be ways, but you have to think like a capitalist. Like how can I invest in owning these robots or leasing these robots and training them to do something that people need, and that's how you can make money. I also think there's going to have to be some sort of way that their labor, robotic labor, is heavily taxed in order to reduce the burden on the human population. But again, this whole depopulation thing helps solve that because there won't be as many humans to support. And I mean, yeah. So there's opportunity. Like I'm using it a lot now, and it's enabled me to do 5 times as much as I normally would have been able to do prior. So Southern is more liberal, Northern is more conservative. People live and let live. And yeah, so in Idaho, which one is the most heavily forested and mountainous with fewer people? That's where I would want to go, wherever that part is. Move to the Midwest. He says it's safer. Yeah, it's just too flat. It's way too flat for me. Yeah, BC is gorgeous. What about New Mexico? I have thought about Arizona, like northern Arizona, where there are basically like mountains and trees. So it just depends. Yeah. Which guy whose body was not found? Is any of this online about these entities? No, it wasn't that his body was found. He remote viewed it, and his body was just went catatonic. I don't know. Again, I've heard it in passing. Ingo Swann, though, in his book Penetration, talks about remote viewing the moon, and I think people warned him not to come back. Like there were entities there, and they're like, "Don't come back." I don't know. Yeah, I have not heard that. Yeah. Oh, they got raided by ICE. What's my workflow? Just it's just constant. It doesn't stop. Like I have to do my remote viewing analysis tomorrow because I have to record on Monday because I have to travel next week. I won't be able to do it on Wednesday. I set this up. I kind of come up with the topic and then I have AI write it, but obviously I didn't use it, so I'm just going to use it next week. It's super busy. Stirring up the if a Bigfoot stirring up the owls in our backyard. It was an intense standoff. That's weird. Yeah, I definitely need. Okay. Yeah, I like forested mountains. Yeah, well, keep in mind, like CIA was warned not to come back, and they did. So it was FAFO. Yeah, I appreciate you, Mark. T9K. All right, God, we're 9 minutes over. I didn't have to do a lick of work. That was fantastic. I actually feel more refreshed after that than I normally do because I'm like reading 30 pages of text. I will. The most very first thing I have to do is I have to change the thumbnail so I don't. It's not false advertising, but which I'll do like right now, and then I'll cover the cognitive warfare next week because and it's good I've already done the work. It'll actually save me like an hour or so of work. So, um, sorry, I'm just like reading some future forecasting traffic. Whoa. I'm gonna respond to this. All right. Oops. IT is oh wait, IT. Yeah, thank you, Time Feast Adventures. Yeah. Yeah, I need to talk to Farrell for sure. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I didn't cover it tonight. It's God, this camera. It's just like All right. That's one free hour to. You have to understand. I've been going 100 miles an hour for like the past 3 months, and oh, oh, I'm super tired. Super tired. Cool stream of consciousness. uh, yeah. I hope to do more with Derp with Kerp. Uh, because what he brings to the table is Kerp, which is I can't even approximate. But a little idea like, hey, Kerp, you wanna bring on Lynn Buchanan? We could both talk to him and do a live stream. Like I think I could arrange that because I have the contact with those folks. He would just make it, but I would need to brief Lynn, like, look, Lynn, like he's a professional comedian, so let's just be. And Lynn would be fine. I don't want Lynn to like walk into an ambush and be like, "What did I sign up for?" I want him to have a little like heads up, like it's going to be great, but like when he starts making fun of us, like it's totally fine. It's not, and he'll like Buchanan would love it. Oh, seriously? There's someone who likes my books? I've like rarely hear that. So I really appreciate that. So Ina's writing, by the way, Sean, my hubby really likes your books. That's great. I don't know if you were on here, but I have a new one, like an actual novel that's coming out. It has the most profane name, but it's on Amazon right now. It's called um, Replace the Y with an N, Yahtzee Cocktail. It's the most offensive name possible. It's not pro like Yahtzee, right? The Yahtzees are the bad guy, but so is Stalin, right? But it's a pretty provocative name. So highly encourage folks to buy that. Who knows if anybody will buy it, but yeah, good night, Riders DG. If I ever have the money, I want to move back to the States and live in a beautiful mountain area like Arizona. or Place with Mountains. Interesting books reviewed. Guys, he did me a favor. He did me a solid, right? Let's not. It's not a professional operation here. Like, obviously, I would love to have that guy on as much as possible, but he's a serious comedian, and I'm just a schlep. So, and I mean, he does that on what, Jimmy Dory, right? So he actually has to keep track of current affairs. Like him and I are probably some of the only people who keep track of both geopolitics and the paranormal. We're probably the only, and he also keeps track of like the science fiction, like the fiction writing part of it too, apparently, because he knew something. Like mentioned something to him in private, and he's just like, "Holy crap!" Like I didn't know that, but he made the connection that nobody would make the connection to. So, huh? DNA does not age; it's different. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. God bless. Good night. We'll cover cognitive warfare next week. So thank you and have a great night.